my mom is making sourdough bread, and I can't wait for her to go to bed because she's gonna be awake for a while. So we're gonna get straight into it. I saw a clockwork reader do this, and I'm pretty sure I also copied her like last year or the year before to make this video. She inspired me for the second time in a row. So yeah, without any further ado, before I start, look at my nails. I wanted to get these because it matches my sweater. Also, hopefully you can notice how greasy my hair is. I washed it yesterday. Okay, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. First question: best book you've read so far in 2024? Definitely this one, and I will be mentioning it a few times throughout this video. This is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I personally like this book more than The House in the Cerulean Sea. I know that that's like a fan favorite, and it was good, but I liked this one more. And I did not make, I usually do a seasonal, like what I read, but I did not do my spring one, and summer is not quite over yet, so I will be combining them, and that's when I'm gonna get it in more depth about the books I read this year. So I'm not gonna get too deep into it, okay? But what I will say is this book focuses on grief, which is obviously well, not obviously, but that's what hit me in the feels, you know? It was just so sweet, and there's also romance in this, queer romance, and I just really liked this book. It made me sob, not only like happy tears, but also just I cried, okay? So I did not give this 5 stars. I gave it 4.5. The next question. Now this one was not on the list, but once again, I'm copying a clockwork reader. Okay, she added this extra question, and I think that it makes a lot of sense, which is what's the worst book you've read so far? So I am a hater. I loved to hate on books, okay, that people tend to love. It's just who I am at my core, okay? I love complaining about how much I hate certain books. So I do have a few in this category. So these are all books I rated under 3 stars. Some were worse than others, okay? So the first one, this one was not too bad, okay, which is Butcher and Blackbird. This one was really not that bad. I think I gave it 2.5 or something. It really wasn't that bad. Looking back, I probably should have given it like a 2.8. It wasn't that bad. And then the next one is Flawless. I'm sorry. I know Haley Jean ASMR loves Elsie Silver, and she also overall really likes like romance, contemporary, which I don't really. It depends on the setting. It depends on many things, okay? So far the ones I've read have not been great. I like historical romances, but I'm sorry to say I just didn't like it. I might read the sequel to see if I like it, but I didn't like it. I liked the first like half of the book, and then the other half I didn't like. The guy gave me the ick, and I really liked her though. I will say she did have a personality, which I really did love, because a lot of them don't. But it wasn't for me, and I do apologize. Please don't hate Haley. Okay. And then the next one was Where's Molly? This is in the same universe as the Hunting Adeline universe. Again, I will get into more depth when I talk about my wrap up, okay? And then the last two I DNF'd. First, we have Twisted Lies. I DNF'd it. I even DNF'd it right as they were about to do the Devil's Tango. And not even that could save the book for me. It was just so boring. I'm actually really proud of myself that I was able to get through the other ones. The other three. I DNF'd it at like 80%, which I usually never ever do. Ever. Because it's like, I'm at 80, I might as well finish it. But unfortunately, I didn't do that. Okay, I just could not. I couldn't. Somehow, this one was my least favorite out of all of them. I don't know why. I mean, the characters are better than in the first book, but I don't know, it was just something about this that I don't know. And then the last book, Brood and Magic, is the next one. It's the sequel to, I don't remember, but I DNF'd it. It was boring. I didn't like it. The third question is best sequel you read so far in 2024. So the best book I have read so far this year has been Under the Whispering Door, but 4 stars is still good, okay? And I read the Hunger Games trilogy and I did like it. I would give this series, the trilogy overall, 4 stars. I know a lot of people that grew up reading them would rank it higher, and it was good. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think it's really well written, easily digestible, and I think everyone should read it. So I'm gonna have to say Catching Fire was the best sequel I read this year. But then again, I haven't read many sequels. So, but yeah, I guess Catching Fire. Number 4 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. So these are the ones so far that I know of. Okay, I'm not sure if there are any other ones. I will make sure to do some like research, or maybe I should have done that before I started filming, but it's fine. But the 2 that I have is The Prisoner's Throne. I still have not read it. I have an app called, I forgot, but it's basically, it's called Daily Decision app, and it's basically just a wheel, and I put like all of my TBR books in it, and I spin, and whatever it lands on, I read, because I'm not a mood reader. I can read whatever, but I don't know, I just think it's fun. I think it's fun to have a little wheel. Okay, anyway, so that's why I haven't read it yet. The wheel hasn't landed on this book yet. This is the sequel to The Stolen Heir, which is in the Cool Prince universe. And then the next one is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherworld, sequel to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is one of my favorite books. So obviously I should have been like really like excited to read it, but even with like movies and TV shows, it's like I will like, once I finish a show or movie or book, whatever, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited for the next book or next movie or next whatever. But then like enough time has gone by where I just kind of like forget about it, and then I will get to it eventually. Can anyone else relate the Sea. This is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea. I'm just very curious about the sequel. Yeah, I don't really know about any other book. I'll look into it, but that's the only one I can think of. Yeah. Question number 6 is biggest disappointment of 2024. I'm gonna have to say this hunger of a book, House of Flame and Shadow. This is the third book. I don't know why I keep saying that, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. Third book in the Crescent City series. So I did not hate this book. I gave it 3.5, but I loved the first Crescent City. The second book was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars, or yeah, something like that. And this one got 3.5, which is fine. But I don't know, there's just something about it. I loved Lydia in this book. Absolutely one of my favorite SJM characters. I love her. Well, I don't know, that's maybe a bit of a stretch. My favorite in this series. But I don't know. It was very anticlimactic. The whole last boss scene. And I don't know. It just wasn't great. And then the next book that disappointed me. I just think this book, I did enjoy it, but I definitely heard other things on TikTok which then made me a little disappointed, which was The Poppy War. So this series as a whole, it's a trilogy. I would probably give maybe 4 stars, or maybe 3.8 or something. But I was a little bit disappointed because I was told that the main character was I don't know how to explain it. I mean, don't get me wrong, she was definitely full of rage. She was very, very mad at, she had a lot of reasons to be filled with a lot of rage. But what I felt like it was mostly in her head. I feel like she didn't really act on it very often, and it sounded like it on TikTok that she was she would act on her anger a lot, and she was killing people left and right. And don't get me wrong, she definitely is a mass murderer, okay? But I still feel like it was mostly in her head. It was mostly her being chaotic in her own head, and thinking kind of, and having violent thoughts mostly in her head. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just feel like she didn't act on it that much. That's at least what I felt. Next question is question number 10. Newest favorite character of 2024. So definitely I would say Karu, who is from this book, which is another book I'm gonna talk about next month. But yeah, we have our main character Karu, and I really love her. She's great. I especially loved her in this book. I do still like her in the second book, but I especially love her in this book. This book overall was just better than the sequel. I still have not finished the sequel. I've been taking a while. But yeah, I would say Karu from Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Next question, question 13 is most beautiful book you've bought or received in 2024. So that's gonna have to be obviously Emily Wilde's Map of the Other World. I love the spine. I do like the first book a bit more because purple is my favorite color, but this one is still gorgeous. It's identical to the first book, just obviously the color's different and the title. But I just or you can see maybe a little closer. I do really like just simple kind of artwork. And then the next one, which this is actually a funny haha story. This one was actually a surprise because basically I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to buy the sequel to Legendborn. I've been wanting to read Bloodmarked, so I bought it off of Amazon, and it was only like 102 Danish crowns, which is like $20, and I was like, that is so cheap. Not only for a book, but also just for the shipping. That is nothing. Like $20, might have even been less than that, might have been like $18. Just so cheap. But then when it arrived, I noticed the Fairy Loot logo on the back, and I was like confused because I had not received my Emily Wilde's Map of the Other World yet. The last book I showed you, I hadn't received it yet, but I was like, I'm not supposed to receive it for another like 2 months. So then I opened it and I saw that it was a Fairy Loot special edition of Bloodmarked, and I bought it for like $18. I was flabbergasted. Looks like that. Yeah, I was very confused. I'm gonna admit and say that I don't necessarily love the art. I'm gonna be honest, but I wanted to show it anyway. The front. I accidentally skipped over like 3 questions. Let me answer them real quick. So after biggest disappointment of 2024, after that I was supposed to answer biggest surprise of 2024. I apologize. So the biggest surprise of 2024 by far was Ice Planet Barbarian. I'm currently on the 4th book. And I think there's a couple reasons why I like it. One, well, first of all, I find that the women actually have a freaking personality. 2, I think I'm just not a huge fan of modern settings, and this one, it's obviously about aliens, okay, so it's more, I don't know what that's considered, like sci-fi, dystopian, fantasy, I don't know, but I liked that. 3, here's the thing, if the men were not aliens, I would have absolutely hated it, because it focuses a lot on height. They're like 7 foot, and they're like, so obviously it gets mentioned a few times, but they're like that they're, you know, very small and stuff, and typically like a small nose and like small hands, and typically I freaking hate that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in a book is when they talk about how small she is, and it's not because I'm tall, right? I'm almost 6 foot, and I'm also not skinny by any means, and the reason I hate it is not for that reason. It's just because I find it creepy that they focus so much on like how small these women are, and sometimes it's too much, you know. Certain books focus a lot on that, and so, as I said, if they were not aliens and not 7 foot, I would have hated it, but they are. And so even if the girls were 6 foot, they still would have been significantly smaller. Maybe not significantly, but they would still be small. Okay, so yeah, is the writing good? It's not bad. Sometimes it is. Does it have really any plot? Me a little bit. A little bit. I also find when I read books about like a community, when I read books about like a community of some kind, I find it cozy. And this one kind of has like a community of like aliens and humans, and yeah, I don't know, for some reason I eat it up. Okay. And then the next 2 questions I actually can't answer. The next one was favorite new to you author discovered in 2024. I don't really think there is one. Like, obviously obviously, yeah, but like, well, not really. I mean, I am on TikTok, on Book Talk and stuff, and people talk about the books they've read, and I haven't necessarily heard about all of the authors, but like, if it's like books I've read by the authors, there isn't one. So, next one is newest fictional crush of 2024. I don't have one. Maybe one of the aliens, but I don't really have one. And then the last question, which is question 14, is what books do you really need to read by the end of the year? No, there isn't really one. Like, there's not like one particular book that I need to finish. I would say my TBR. I have 25 on my TBR, which I know for a lot of people is not a lot. I know some people have like so many, but to me it is 25. I think is quite a lot of books. I don't think I'm gonna finish all of them, but hopefully I'll finish at least half by the end of the year. And also, yeah, I don't really have a particular one. As I said, I use my little wheel, and whatever it lands on, I read. So yeah. Hopefully that was all the questions. I tend to accidentally skip some of them over. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please, I know no one really does, but please let me know what book you really liked this year, and maybe also which book you didn't like this year. Please and thank you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.